NoFap Challenge Day 49. What I want to talk about here in this video is porn, and why is porn so popular. And it's just my take on it, my thoughts, my perspective. I just read an article that porn at the moment makes $97 billion. $97 billion. That's enough, according to the article, that's enough to feed 4.8 billion people a day. $97 billion. That's more money than NFL, NBA, and Major League Baseball make combined. That's how big the porn industry is. That's how giant it is. That's how massive it is. So, if there is a supply, an abundant supply of pornographic material, this means there is an abundance, an overabundance of demand for the pornographic material. And this is what I want to talk about here. Why is there so much demand for pornographic material? Why is there so much demand, so much so that even though there is a shit ton of supply for porn, for what is the demand here, everybody still makes money? You know, like $97 billion, right? Ridiculous. Okay, so I'm just gonna provide like a perspective, an angle here. I kind of thought about this morning. Let's look at sexual energy. Sexual energy is creative energy, right? It's creative. It creates things. It creates babies. It creates events. It creates projects. It creates business. That's what sexual energy is. Now, as someone who has a lot of demand to see sexual energy in the form of lovemaking, let's say, right? In the form of two bodies coming together, engaging in the act of sex, right? This tells me something. I don't have enough of that going on in my life. And so this is why I feel the need to go and watch it. That's how I see it, because just talking from personal experience, when I was in the years that I was watching porn like a madman, I didn't have any kind of creative outlet or sexual partners for that matter. And so, as a result, I was addicted to going online, right, and watching other people engage in that act and getting off to it. Let's look at the main, well, everybody watches porn, right? I was gonna say let's look at the main demographics of people who watch porn. Everybody watches porn. I want to take two archetypes here: the teenager and the adult. And let's start off with the teenager. So the teenager is going through immense hormonal changes. They're going from becoming a boy to a man, right? You have to deal with these constant, never-ending boners. You know, that's, I mean, good luck dealing with that, right? You're gonna have to deal with them. You know, these constant boners, this new thing that is in my body called testosterone is causing all kinds of hard-ons. And, you know, I don't know, like, I gotta do something with these hard-ons, right? Like, I gotta do something with them. Let's take a look at the way humans lived for pretty much 95% of their modern existence. We lived as hunter-gatherer tribes in nature. When you turn 12, 13, you were already considered a man. As soon as they saw that you can have boners and, you know, your voice is getting a little bit deeper, they considered you a man. And now, you're this wild teenager out into the wilderness, exploring, you know, chasing deer, getting chased away by wolves or lions or whatever it is, right? you're in this adventure called life. You're out in the wilderness and you're moving, you're out there. Your energy is being expressed, your sexual energy, that testosterone that your body is now producing, that's being expressed. And in those tribal settings, usually as soon as you became a man, you took on a lover from your tribe. Like, it happened almost immediately, you know? So the thing is, you knew these people, you knew your tribe, right? So like, there's probably like a girl that's also going through the same thing, that you knew her since you guys were kids, and as soon as you turned into a man, she turned into a woman, you guys got it on. So in other words, a teenager, which is full of vitality and energy and testosterone and vigor for life, his energy is being put out into the world. It's being creative, it's explorative, and you have someone to share your newly found sexual energy with. Somebody else that you know, somebody else that you grew up with. And this is kind of how we as humans lived for, you know, most of our existence on this planet. 95% of it, before the invention of agriculture. That energy, that testosterone, that sexual, creative, explorative, masculine energy is going out, it's being expressed, it's being in the wilderness, it's being wild, allowing it to express itself. By contrast, a modern teenager, which I certainly was, which most of you guys are, here you are with this vigor, with this thing called testosterone all over you, with this, you know, these boners that you have, and guess what you have to do? You have to sit down behind the desk. What's going on, guys?
Hey,
how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. I'm actually talking a video about, you guys are teenagers, right? Yeah, I'm talking, have you guys heard of, do you guys mind being in the video, or it's a YouTube video, I can show you the guys after. So I'm talking about, have you guys heard of NoFap? No. NoFap, it's like you don't jerk off, basically. Like you don't jerk off until you get a girlfriend or something, right?
Yeah.
Right, so I'm talking about it, it's this thing, it's this movement. You don't jerk off, right?
Yeah.
And you let the energy build up.
Okay.
Right? And if you let the energy build up, you become more attractive to chicks, and you have less anxiety, right? So I'm talking about how the modern teenager, you guys are in school, right? How the modern teenager has to like sit down behind the desk and like have their energy repressed. When you as a teenager, like think about it, you as a teenager, you want to go out there, you want to explore, like, you know what I mean? So I'm talking about that. Anyway, I'm gonna give you guys the channel, okay? So let me just pause this for a second. Okay, here are my friends. They're saying what up to the camera. What's your name, man?
I'm Simon.
Simon, and?
I'm Daniel.
Daniel. Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you. Have a good day.
Thank you, guys. You too. You too. Bye. Okay, so by contrast, the modern teenager, right? The modern teenager has to fucking sit down behind the desk, have all this energy, all this excitement, this explorative nature, right? Sit behind the desk and do fuck all. Listen to some boring ass teachers talk about some very, very interesting topics in the most mundane, boring ways possible. Do you know how interesting physics is? Do you know how interesting chemistry is? Do you know how interesting biology is? Do you know how interesting religious studies are? But you get teachers there that don't give a fuck. They're got their own personal shit to deal with in life, and they're teaching this very interesting stuff, the universe. They're teaching you about the universe in the most boring, mundane, dry ways possible. And there you are with all this fucking energy, with your body telling you, dude, you gotta go and procreate, and you gotta go out there and explore, and you gotta go out there and be creative. There you are sitting down, having to listen to this boring ass shit, and having to do that all day long, and having to fucking do homework after. Fucking slavery. This is slavery. This is how they brainwash us into becoming slaves, cocks in the machine. You know, they take all these energetic children and energetic teenagers, they turn us into boring adults. So, of course, as a teenager, you got these constant hard-ons, right? And you got all this energy, and it's, well, guess what? It's not being expressed at all, because you have to sit behind a fucking desk for 8 hours a day, right? 8 hours a day, more, you know, if you take the bus and, you know, 10 hours a day, and then you gotta go home and do homework again. Yeah, okay, right. So I'm basically ignoring everything my body's telling me, right? And of course, usually, there's like girls in the school, right? So all these hard-ons as a teenager, you're gonna inevitably get mixed up with somebody else in school. Your procreative calling, the body's procreative calling, you're gonna end up getting mixed up with someone in school, right? And a lot of messy situations can arise from that. So, sorry, I got off track. I was thinking about something else. Let me just, because what was my point? Okay, my point is, as a teenager, your sexual energy is not being directed as nature intended it to, right? You might not even, if you have a girlfriend as a teenager, great. But a lot of, like, when I was a teenager, I didn't have a girlfriend, right? So that added to the frustration of having to sit behind the desk and having nobody to share this newly exciting and found sexual energy with. And I think a lot of teenagers find themselves in that situation, right? I got no girlfriend, and I got a lot of boners here, a lot of hard-ons here, and well, all that sexual energy is not being expressed, and I'm sitting behind this desk. So what the fuck am I doing? All right, I heard about this thing called porn, where you get to see other people have sex and engage in this exciting act, and then you will basically deal with your hard-ons that way. You'll feel really good. You'll get all this. Your body will feel good. You'll get the dopamine released in porn by watching porn is more than when you fucking do cocaine. That's why people get addicted. It's literally addictive. It's a drug. So that's why there's so much demand for it in the teenager demographic. You see? Now, let's talk about the adult demographic. The adult demographic is those same teenagers that got the life sucked out of them, got the energy sucked out of them, got the soul sucked out of them, the excitement, the vigor, their sexual energy repressed, right? When I say sexual energy repressed, it literally is repressed. It's your creativity, right? Literally, you gotta, you know, conform. So even the way you have sex with someone else is probably like so mainstream, because your creativity is shut. Your creativity as a human being is shut down, right? You're taught to think in a systematic way and act in a systematic way, in a robotic way. So even the way you have sex is more than likely, probably, how you do one thing is how you do everything. Even the way you have sex probably has zero to no creativity in it. It's probably very robotic, very mechanistic. It relates, you know, the way you have sex with someone else and the way your creativity out into the world, they're absolutely related, make no mistake about it. So as an adult, here you are, not getting satisfaction from your relationships, you know, you might be have a wife and a girlfriend, or, you know, just in a relationship, just a girlfriend, right? You know, maybe you've been seeing him for a couple of years, but you're not happy in it. You know, there's that sexual excitement is not really there. It might have been there in the beginning, but it's not really there. There's not a lot of creativity. There's a lot of boredom. You and the other person in the relationship just get in the routine. Like maybe you work, she works, right? And there's just no more excitement anymore. And at the same time, your own creativity has been so fucking lost from you, has been so taken away from you. Yeah, your sexuality at this point, your creativity has basically just been repressed. It's there, but it's been so repressed. And guess what? Again, porn answers the call of those whose sexual energy is repressed, whose sexual energy is not being expressed out into the world in the most creative way possible. Porn will answer that call. That's what porn is. And porn, the fact that porn is so popular, it just tells me that most of the world's population's sexual energy is repressed, and it's not being channeled, it's not being used, it's not being expressed as the Tao wants to express it. And that's my outlook on why porn is so popular, why porn is so big, why there's the demand for porn and the money there is in the porn industry is absolutely humongous. Absolutely humongous. Like that's at least one aspect of it, right? I know there are other reasons. I can sit down here and talk about them. But I want to finish off with this note here, right? Sexual energy is creative energy. If you are allowing that creative energy, which is expansive, sexual energy is very expansive. That's why when you have sex with someone and there's a lot of emotions in that sexual act, and you know, there's a lot of emotions between you and your lover, both of you feel like you're literally becoming the universe. It's so expansive, right? Because the universe, it's the creative, the whole of creation is basically runs and procreates and keeps going and evolves because of sexual energy. So sexual energy is very, very, very powerful, right? Very powerful. And if that energy is not being expansive, explorative, wild, that's the word I want to use, wild. If it's not wildly being expressed, wildly being put out into the world, in the most wild way possible, because we are wild. Humans are wild. We're wild animals. We're wild souls. Whatever. All of us. Every aspect of human is wild. Let it be the animal aspect. Let it be the divine aspect. Because your animal aspect is wild. It's in the wilderness. It evolved in the wilderness. It likes to run and hunt and run away and move and have new things to do and new places to explore. And your divine aspect is also expansive because your soul it's everywhere. You're everything. You are everything. So we're wild. Of course we're wild. But when we are domesticated like that, I mean, we're domesticated in every way possible, we're repressed in every way possible, then we resort to things like porn to express, to see other people express their own sexual energy. Because, you know, you watch these porn actors and, you know, they're pretty expressive in their sexual energy. You know, that's why we jerk off to them. That's why we get off to them. Because we're seeing two people or more than two people expressing their sexual energy fully, like in front of the camera. And so we get off to that because we see a part of us that is not being manifested here, that we're not manifesting in our present moment, in our everyday lives. That's why I think porn is really popular. So that's it. That's where I'm going to end up the rant. I think the next rant, I'm going to talk about porn stars. Specifically, like porn stars. I've just been really interested in porn stars for some reason. Okay, so that's it. I'll finish off the rant here. God bless you all, guys. I love every single one of you, but don't forget to subscribe or you're gonna sleep with the fishes.